Good morning. Welcome to Daily Focus. And we are in Second Samuel chapter 3. And wow, can I tell you, there is a lot of drama in this chapter. And there are some things that happen here that, I don't really understand all of the implications. Certainly, David did not follow God's design. Was he still said of the Lord that he was a man after his own heart? He was. Was he still God's chosen for the leadership of Israel, all of Israel? Yes. Did God bless and make that happen? Yes. Was David violating the design of God for the family? Yes. Um, was Abner right in, trying to sustain the line of Saul? No. Um, did he believe that he was doing the right thing? Maybe. Was Abner a man of character? No. Did he commit sin with Saul's concubine and infuriated Ishbosheth? Yes. Did it cost Ishbosheth his his kingdom when he confronted Abner with it? Yes. Um, Ishbosheth was afraid of Abner. This was a case where almost like we experienced the last 4 years in America, where you have somebody that has a title, but you have somebody else obviously making all of the decisions. And in this case, it wasn't that Ishbosheth wasn't capable. It was just simply he didn't have the following. He didn't have the respect of the people. He didn't have the confidence of the people. He had the title, but Abner was clearly the leader. And when Abner puts Ishbosheth in his place, Ishbosheth fears Abner and acquiesces to whatever Abner said. But in this passage, we find out that David in verses 2 through 4, 2 through 5, we find out David has 7 wives. And then he tells Ishbosheth, after Abner says, we're giving everything to David the way it was supposed to, he tells Ishbosheth, now bring me Michal, because she was espoused to me and Saul gave her away. And so I want you to bring her to me, which is going to make him have 8 wives. And this isn't even talking about what's going to happen with Bathsheba later. Is this God's plan? No. Was it culturally acceptable? Yes. Solomon is going to make the same mistake. Do you marry and for alliance sakes, for treaty sakes, for countries to get along? Yes, they did all that in that culture. Is it God's design? No. And so did it create complication? Absolutely. And so I put all of that as kind of a foundation to a chapter that has tons of drama. But it is very interesting that verse number 1 says, now there was long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, but David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. I think at some point, we have to be able to understand that God's designs are best and God's decisions are best. And if we are going to operate, there is going to be a submission to God's design and a submission to God's decisions. We can fight it. We can try to alter it. We can try to change it. We can try to avoid it, but we're not going to forever, because God is sovereign and his designs are right and his decisions are sure. And so it's better for us to stop fighting what God's design is. Husbands, do your job. Wives, do your job. Children, do your job. Fulfill your roles. Pastors, Fulfill your responsibility. Church people, fulfill your responsibilities. Uh, Americans, stewards of a constitutional republic, do your responsibility. Hold your elected officials accountable. That's what a government of the people, by the people, for the people does. We need to make sure we're understanding God's designs, and then understanding that there's a specific decision in how people function in their roles within that design. And instead of justifying getting out of that design and doing something contrary, understand that in the end, we're going to have to acquiesce. God is still going to win. And so Abner, I think, comes to a place where he realizes, you know what? This isn't working, and it's not going to work. And when Ishbosheth confronts him on the sin with Saul's concubine, he basically lays into him, and Ishbosheth closes his mind, saying, "This guy is more powerful than I am." David, then he goes to David and says, okay, the kingdom is obviously yours. And we see that in verse 17, as Abner then communicated with the elders of Israel, saying, "Ye sought for David in times past to be king over you. Now then do it. For the Lord hath spoken of David, saying, by the hand of my servant David, I will save my people Israel out of the hand of the Philistines and out of the hand of their enemies." And so Abner is basically saying to Israel, okay, Ishbosheth is done, and you need to go and submit yourselves under one kingdom where David is ruler over all. This is what God said. This is what God designed. This is what God decided. And boy, what a great place for us as born again believers to just look into God's word, guided by God's Spirit, to understand what is the design and what has God decided regarding that design. How does the roles function? And let's just do that, because as we fight it, eventually we're going to realize we're fighting a losing battle. And I believe that's where Abner got. Now, we're going to look at tomorrow and see that this was very disturbing to Joab. And Joab already was bitter. Joab already felt like he had a score to settle. And there's going to be more drama. And I think we're going to learn something about David in this, but I think we find something about Abner in the rest of the story as well. But as for today, let's remember this, that you can fight against God, but you're never going to win. God will win every time. God bless you. I hope you have a great day. I'll be doing a couples retreat up in Gaylord Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so my wife and I will be traveling tomorrow, but I'm hoping to stop to give you the rest of this chapter.